Have you noticed something strange? You can speak confidently with a friend for 45 minutes without thinking twice. But in a meeting, when your boss points at you and says, "Tell us what you think," suddenly your mouth goes dry, or your heart speeds up, and the same sentence feels heavy. Did your intelligence disappear? No, something else took over. Today, I'm going to show you what that is and how to retrain it. Because you're not afraid of the meeting, you're afraid of being downgraded in the group socially. And our body alarm treats social rejection as a threat to our life. There is a reason for this. So, thousands of years ago, survival depended on belonging to a group. If you were rejected, you did not lose approval, you lost food, protection, and community. So, our brains evolved to treat social rejection like a physical danger. Today, a meeting is not life threatening, but your fear center hasn't fully updated that software. And that is the reason when everyone is looking at you in a meeting, your fear center quietly asks, "What if I say something wrong?" And it presses a panic button. And this is why you go blank out sometimes. When that panic button is pressed, our system moves from thinking mode to survival mode. You still hold all the knowledge, but you have lost the access to it during this particular time. Now, here's something surprising. Slightly faster heartbeat before speaking does not mean you will perform worse. In fact, a small amount of nervousness uh, it actually improves memory, projection, and focus. The problem is not that activation. The problem is when your survival mode believes I must escape this situation. So today we will learn some regulation techniques to handle these situations in a better way. So first, work on your past threat events. So if you've had bad experience earlier, you forgot lines, you were judged, or your voice was shaking, your body alarm may treat this meeting as similar threat from the past. So before the meeting, take 30 seconds and recall that particular event, complete the story in your mind. Okay, this was in the past, in so and so year, this it was a different room. I have more experience now and the people are different. So this will help your fear center update the files and stop replaying the feeling from that old meeting into the new one. That's one. Second, shift your role. Nervousness increases when the thought is, what if they judge me? So shift the role, instead of saying I will be judged, say I have only one role today and to explain my idea clearly. When your focus shifts from am I impressive to am I useful, your survival mode relaxes because our system feels usefulness much safer than evaluation. That's second. Third, make the room familiar. If possible, enter the room early, stand there, look around, touch the table, walk to the spot where you are going to stand. Why this will help? Because familiar environments reduce that feeling of fear, whereas unknown spaces, it increases the alertness of our fear center. So you're teaching your system, I've been here before and I can manage this situation. Why does a familiar environment feel manageable? Because your nervous system does not listen to motivational quotes, they are not going to work. It listens to familiarity. You're not trying to become confident, you're making the room feel known, because a known environment feels safe to your survival mode. And if thoughts start racing in the meeting, feel your feet on the floor and breathe out slowly. So this brings attention back to the present moment, and your system understands that I'm fine. This is a conversation. It's not a survival test, and I will focus on just one thing. How can I contribute? Now, fourth, rehearse the emotions. A lot of times, people, in fact, almost every time people rehearse slides, they practice content, but rehearsing your emotions will make a huge difference. Close your eyes for 20 seconds and imagine that you're presenting and someone is looking confused, someone is looking at the mobile, someone is asking a very tough question. And then take one slow breath. while you are imagining all these. So this way, you're teaching your nervous system that discomfort is survivable. When you imagine a stressful moment and stay steady while breathing slowly, you're training your system. I can experience this feeling and yet stay steady with my ideas around these people. So later, when it happens live, it feels familiar instead of threatening, because our inner world treats imagination and the reality similarly at the nervous system level. Now, fifth, during the meeting, let's say you've done all the preparation, you know your content, you've practiced your slides, but the moment you start speaking in the meeting, your voice starts shaking. Now, because your voice shakes, you get a thought, oh no, they can hear it. No, I think I'm sounding nervous, or they will think I'm not confident. This happens, right? So, but here's what is actually happening. Your voice is not shaking because you are bad at presenting. It's shaking because your body is preparing for action. The same chemistry that helps you run faster also tightens the muscles around your vocal cords. So your breath becomes slower, your throat muscles tighten, and voice vibrates slightly. So during this time, the mistake that most people make is they try to fix the voice. But the voice is not the problem here. The problem is your breath. So say to yourself, yes, I know I'm nervous, but I can handle it. And then breathe out slowly. You will notice that the voice begins to settle down on its own with this breathing out. And then sixth, is the outcome. Our survival mode panics even more when it thinks that this has to go perfectly. So remind it again, I have only one role today. Explain this idea clearly. I'm not looking for perfection or control on what others are thinking. So outcome is not known. However, I will focus on the process. So how does this help? When you keep your focus on only one clear job, it helps your system to relax. So you keep reminding yourself to focus on explaining the idea clearly. Now let's practice one breathing technique that really helps your body and mind to calm down. So wherever you are right now, you can practice this with me. Keep your back straight, push your shoulders behind, loosen it and push it down. Close your eyes. Now you can keep your hand at the belly. Start breathing in slowly. Let the belly expand. Feel the sensation of your breath. Now let the breath out be even slower than the breathe in. And let your belly contract completely. Let's do this a few times. Breathe in. Feel the subtle movement of your belly. Breathe out. Breathe in. You can count for 4 as you breathe in and count for 8 as you breathe out. Let the breathe out be slower. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Excellent. Now you can open your eyes. So you can practice this breathing technique. It's very easy. Always keep the inhale can be natural, but keep the exhale a little longer. And that this breathing technique is good for shifting from the survival mode towards the thinking mode. Nervousness before speaking, before presenting is not a flaw. It's an old survival program doing its job. But you're not living in a forest anymore. You're in a conference room. So when you train your system to feel safe, the question changes from how do I survive and get out of this meeting to what value do I want to add here. And that's when your voice comes back, not because fear disappeared, but because safety increased. The next time you walk into a meeting, don't try to eliminate nervousness. Train safety using these techniques that we have learned today. Like work on the stored memory from the past events, complete the story, make the room familiar, rehearse the emotions, train to focus only on the process and not the outcome. Then breathe out slowly if your thoughts race. And observe what changes with these techniques. Thank you so much.